Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Healing with Hila. This is your space for aligning, expanding, and reconnecting with who you truly are. I'm your host, Hila Ferguson. I'm a transpersonal hypnotherapist, life coach, and energy worker. Thank you so much for inviting me into your life. Hello, my beautiful souls. Thank you so much for joining me today for episode 2 in our series, The Laws of the Universe. I want to focus today on the law of expansion. Many call it the law of attraction. You're going to find me really focused on the essence of expansion and just sharing with you some insights around that. I really felt like I needed a tune-up before starting our podcast today. And so I played a little bit of my crystal ball, just tuning to the heart space and opening up and getting my vibration in alignment so we can take this journey on together. I've been a little under the weather. It's actually the first time I've been super late on our podcast. So this is coming to you a week later. But I really needed to focus this week and just taking care of myself and healing and just, being in a space of pausing versus a space of doing. Let's get digging into this premise, this idea that we live in a universe of expansion. And what does that actually mean? If you wanted to look deeper into the scientific approach, you can just look up, is our universe expanding, and get a sense from the scientific world on what that actually means. For me, though, it sits in the vibration. For me, I understand it more through our emotions, our feelings, and the knowings that I receive through my channeling, my own guidance. And I've been proven again and again that this is a universe of expansion. Whatever I put my awareness on expands. Whatever it is that I believe, the universe looks at me and says, yes, you are right. And here is more. Let me expand it for you. Let me give you more of that. And I think that where most of us kind of fail, and not really fail, but attract what we don't want, is that we are such creatures of observance. We tend to tell our story from where we see it, from where we observe it, right? You'll ask somebody how much money they have, and they will tell you the reality of their money from looking at their bank account. You will ask somebody about the reality of their love life, and they will either tell you they're single or not, and if they're not, how well, they're doing, and, how often they fight. They don't tell you the story about how they want it to feel. They don't tell you the story from the vantage point of being mindful of, this is what I want to expand. If I report back to you about how lacking my bank account is, I am expanding that notion. I am creating more of that. And so it's really so incredibly important to become diligent in the way that we view and tell our story. If we focus on the lack, we will expand the lack. And we have to learn how to tell our story in a way that feels authentic to us, that feels true. So we're not lying, but we are focusing on the pieces of our story that we would like to expand, that we want more of. If you want to have that substantial change in your life, a change that will stay, it's all connected with this present moment and how we create from that. And the change has to start right now. It has to start with the way that I am telling you my story. It has to start with the way that I feel into my story. I have to choose the thoughts that feel different when I think them, that feel good if I want to expand the good in my life. I want to talk about the difference between the law of attraction and the law of expansion, at least the difference as it feels to me, and why I prefer to look at this law as the law of expansion. When I feel into those words, when I feel into attraction, and when I feel into expansion, one feels very external and one feels very internal. In order to attract something, I have to bring something forced from the outside into my life. And in order to expand something, I just simply need to allow the vacant space for whatever it is within me to just grow. I don't even need to actively expand it. I literally just need to allow that dark matter, that empty space, that vacuum, so it can grow. And when I focus on a process that is internal, it feels more empowering for me. And when I focus on a process that is external, it feels more labor. It feels more exhausting and harder. And since we manifest from the feeling, it's important for me to be very mindful with the words that I use. I always want to choose the words that evoke the best feeling that I can reach through my words. The idea of expanding versus attracting also comes from the notion that everything and anything you would ever need, want, or desire is already within you, and that eternal part of you, your soul particle, has already experienced that vibration. Therefore, it can expand it. And so if I want to attract, call in more love in my life, I rather look at it as expanding more into a space of love through the memory, through the vibration of my eternal being, my soul. My soul is pure, unconditional love. It has experienced deep love. Therefore, it can expand that notion for me. So, even if it's something that's hard for me in this life to reach to, there is a deeper memory that I can expand from and reach to instead. If it's abundance and money, and really abundance sits in all aspects, my soul has experienced unlimited abundance and knows what it's like to be a creator without limits. And so I can expand on that notion within me so I can attract more of that into this physical reality. So it doesn't need to be something that I'm consciously present of in order to call in. My desire can be of something that would be really, really nice to have. And then the expansion happens automatically because my soul basically nods and says, yes, it would be really, really nice to have. In fact, we've had it before. We know what it feels like. Let's remember that feeling and grow it and expand it. When I connect to attraction, to attracting, again, like I said, it feels harder. It feels more laborious. It feels like something that I have to work into doing versus more of the art of allowing. And so for the process of today, I do want to focus on this law as the law of expansion, recognizing that everything is already here. And it really has to do with the amount of focus that we put on a thought, the feeling that's behind it, that then generates the expansion and the physical reality that follows. And so, what is it that we are expanding? Well, the bottom line of what it is that we're expanding is vibration. And the easiest way for us to translate vibration in this body, in this life, is through feeling. And so our feelings basically equal our vibration, and we manifest, we create from those feelings. We expand on the ruling feeling and attract more of that into our life. And so we're going to dive a little bit more into that and how our thoughts play a role in all of that. So, really, before the feeling comes the thought. And we've talked about thoughts in other episodes, and I highly recommend you reference some of them if you need it, because we're going to build on that. We're going to build on what we talked about when it comes to affirmations and how they relate to our thoughts, how they build into our beliefs. And I really wanted to give you guys some awesome exercises that you can apply in your normal day to day life that will produce a meaningful change in your vibration. And therefore, you'd be able to attract, to expand, right, from that next level. One of my favorite little affirmation tweaks that I've learned and picked up recently from Abraham is the wouldn't it be nice if. Instead of going with the I want, I shifted into that and it just softened the vibration and makes it more playful and manageable and easier. Therefore, it's easier to expand. And so instead of, I want my kids to listen better and behave, I move into, wouldn't it be nice if my kids listened better and behaved? Wouldn't it be so nice if I came home to a clean house? Wouldn't it be so nice if my kids did their chores on time? Wouldn't it be so nice to have a peaceful family dinner? Instead of listing all these things as I want, you could feel how that type of rephrasing eased the vibration. It allowed the story to be painted in such a lovely manner. I wish my partner listened to me more. Wouldn't it be nice if my partner listened to me? Wouldn't it be nice if my partner really, really heard me? Wouldn't it be nice to be listened to? Wouldn't it be nice to feel like what I have to say really matter? Again, could you feel the difference? How we move into a place that allows what we want to come into us in a much more gentle feeling kind of way. I want my boss to respect me. Wouldn't it be nice if my boss respected me? Wouldn't it be nice if my workplace was lovely? Wouldn't it be nice to work in a place where I'm highly respected and listened to? Again, such a shift, right? From I want. And so that's one of my favorite ways. I encourage you to take a moment, maybe even pause this podcast if you are in the right space and make your own list. Change some of your wants to that, or you can always come back to this exercise later. The next exercise that I want to follow from that is really that how do I want to feel game with talking about changing and tweaking those affirmations, those wants, into these statements that feel more easy and joyous. We've put in more of an emphasis on how we feel when we speak, when we say those things, when we think these thoughts. And so the next thing that I like to do is to just choose a thought, right? Any kind of thought. And I want you to recognize the feeling that sits in that thought. For instance, I might be sitting here thinking that I really struggle with my body. I really struggle to lose weight. And I take a moment and I just feel into this thought. And when I dive into the feeling, I feel, right? I feel the struggle. I feel hopeless. I feel stuck. I feel that slow, right? And that vibration. And I want to take a step back and move into that wouldn't be really nice, right? Wouldn't it be really nice if I was able to lose weight with ease? And I move a little bit more into how I want to feel, right? How would I want to feel? I want this to feel easy. I want to trust that I can do this. I want to be able to release with ease. I want to be accepting of my body enough that even if I don't lose the weight as fast as I want to, I can feel good about this process. This is what I want. And so I can take a breath on what I want and how that feels, how I want to feel. And I can start to allow that, create an affirmation around that. It can be that I am willing to feel more relaxed about this journey. I'm willing to feel more at ease about this journey. It can be, wouldn't it be nice if my journey of losing weight is easy? I relax through it. We can use our little format of I don't know how, but I'm willing to allow for my weight loss journey to be easy. And so we pivot, right? And it's so important that we recognize when we think a thought that produces a feeling within us that is not what we want, we have to pivot. That is that pivot from what I don't want to what I do want so I can expand it because the universe will always expand a ruling vibration. And we have to get good at focusing on the vibrations that we want to create and expanding those pieces in our lives. And so, again, taking a moment, if it feels good for you right now, or, return to this process later and just choose to recognize when the feeling sits in a thought of something that you don't want and how to change it into something that you do. And a follow-up process to that that I really like is to then just fall back on some premises that you really feel good about, that you know, that is easy for you to land on. If you have a good connection to the divine, then you can just land back on faith on that premise. I just trust that my soul is always here for my highest good. I trust that spirit is always here to support me and love me. Move on to premises that you know. If you know, no matter what, your partner loves you, right? Your struggle is with you, then move on that. No matter what, my partner always loves me. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be complicated or deep. It just needs to be a thought, a premise, something within you that just feels good, that you know is true for you. And then just expand that. Just choose to go with that. The focus has to be on the pieces that you want more of in your life. And when you catch yourself going down that line of moving more into what you don't want, creating a reality that doesn't feel good, we have to use some of those exercises to change that momentum. So we get to expand again more of what we want, call into our life what serves us, what we know we deserve, what your soul knows you deserve. And so I really hope that these little exercises are going to support you in your own journey in expanding the things that feel good to you. I know we've been talking a lot about our wants and don't wants, but I want to expand a little bit more on that. I want to read a card from Abraham Hicks, Getting into the Vortex. And I want to talk a little bit about that because I feel like it's very applicable, especially to the times right now that I feel are going around in the collective, but also personal for a lot of people. So the card reads, I can stop attracting don't wants by attention to do wants. You cannot rid the world of things that bother you. You have got to rid your vibration of things that bother you. And when you rid your vibration of things that bother you, no things that bother you can come. But you cannot really rid anything from your vibration because there is no exclusion in this attraction based universe. The only way to stop attracting something that you don't want is by giving your attention to something that you do want, but you have to take small steps in it. And so I think we kind of covered those small steps. We covered that end of the card, right? Through those exercises. How we stop attracting something that we don't want is truly by just giving our attention to something that we do want. But I really feel like I wanted to drive that point around how we cannot push against something and expect it to go away. Because this is a universe of expansion, when we push against something, that is what the universe is going to expand, is the push against something. It will continue to give us more reasons to push against more things. And so this idea of getting rid of something, right? Pushing something out of our lives will never work. We can never get to where we want by doing that. We have to release within us the condition that created the need to push against something. And I know it sounds complicated, but it really isn't, right? Because the bottom line is just focus on what you want instead of what you don't want, and all will be well. And it's so hard in our world, I feel like, especially when we witness around us, right? Things that we would label as injustice and wrong. And every fiber within us want to push at it. We want to get rid of it, where really the only reason why it's existing, the only reason why it's showing up in our lives is to just get us clear onto what we want. It is just to look at and say, oh, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing me the society I don't want to live in. I really appreciate it. And now let me focus on what I want. Let me imagine the world I want to see. Let me shift into the reality I want to live in. And so I really hope that you understand that it is the only way to get to where you want to go. And you cannot push against another person or another premise and expect to get what you want. It doesn't work like that. The universe will just continue to expand wherever and whatever you put awareness and attention on. And so we are pivoting, we are shifting, we are growing the things that we want. I wanted to finish with just some inspired affirmations for you guys. I'm feeling called to create a nice little meditation, an active meditation that you can listen to that will put you in the right space to move into the vibration of expanding what you want. In truth, really, the bottom line is moving us into that alignment, moving us into our inner wise knowing, and allowing the source within us to just help us expand all that we want, all the good that the universe has to offer. In this lovely universe that I am part of, I move through my day feeling connected and aligned. Wouldn't it be nice if every morning when I wake up and ready myself for my day, every step of my day align in perfect harmony with my highest good? Wouldn't it be nice if the people around me mirror all the good that I know this world has to offer? Wouldn't it be nice if every turn that I take, every road that I choose, every path that I walk leads me to wonderful things, takes me and carries me towards my highest potential, and helps me create the best version of myself? And I love the road that I take. I love the path itself. Because even though there's times that are hard, they help me clear out what I want. They help move me into that space of what I want. And so I appreciate those little hiccups. I appreciate those little missteps. And I open myself to love and joy and happiness. I expand with every breath and every thought, the love that is in my heart. My soul is rejoicing. It is standing here in awe of the magnificent being that I've become. And so it is, and so it will continue to be, expanding forever. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Healing with Hila. If you'd like to hear more like that, join me on my Patreon page for exclusive content and my mini podcast, Midnight Thoughts. I'd love to hear more from you. Leave in the comments anything you would like for me to discuss in future episodes. Thank you so much for inviting me into your life. So much love your way.